So we are living, as it were, on many, many levels of rhythm. This is the nature of change. If you resist it, you have dukkha, you have frustration and suffering. But on the other hand, if you understand change, you don't cling to it, and you let it flow, then it's no problem, it becomes positively beautiful. So we are living, as it were, on many, many levels of rhythm. This is the nature of change. If you resist it, you have dukkha, you have frustration and suffering. But on the other hand, if you understand change, you don't cling to it, and you let it flow, then it's no problem, it becomes positively beautiful.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast, Games Talk Live. I'm back. It's been about I think it's been 2 weeks since I've had a podcast, and this one is going to be a special one because not only I don't even have him up on screen right now. What am I doing? I've got to have my guest here. Let me see. See, I'm forgetting how to do this. I think no. He's here. Anyways, welcome to episode 37, if I hadn't said it already. If you're watching this live, thank you for being here. If you're listening to this live, again, thank you for being here. If you're watching on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, anywhere you can stream a podcast, I'm out there on. So if you're listening to one of those, thank you very much. Today, I have with me Gaz Leary of GameOnDaily.com. How are you doing, Gaz?
Hey, I'm good, man. Sorry, I'm a little late.
He was asleep, guys. He passed out a little bit.
I was knocked out, but I was supposed. He said 10 p.m. You said 10 p.m.
I did say 10 p.m. your side, but the clock change and all that. And then I was like panicking, and then I was trying to reach out to you, couldn't get a hold of you, and then all of a sudden you said, "Hey, I just woke up." I said, "Hey, that's cool." You said, "I'm going to get a cup of coffee and let's do it," and we're here. So.
We're here, and that's the important thing. And I'm awake. I've made the strongest coffee known to man, like 3 scoops of mad Nescafe in here. So if I suddenly have,
strong coffee and Nescafe don't belong in the same sentence, but okay. If you would have said Death Wish or something, I would have been like, yeah, there you go. But Nescafe, really, Gaz? Is this some instant brew you're brewing up here? Like.
No, Nescafe? What is a Nescafe? I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I'm still waking up. There's no...
it's great to have you, though. How have you been? How have you been, man? How have you been?
I've been good, man. I've had a busy week. Yeah, I had just went on a little holiday just because I desperately needed it. And just generally been really busy. Just came from a funeral today, so that was a bit deep, but I needed some sleep. I need to catch up on my Z's, and generally gaming has been a little because I've just been traveling. I've been listening to. I can't get away from all the madness that went on Twitter. Like Tunic surprised everyone. Gran Turismo,
the weirdness going on there with that game, and Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. When you make a thumbnail of me as Draco Malfoy, that means something's going on with this Harry Potter game.
We're going to get into a little bit of that as well. Flame, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, Gaz fell asleep. Wakey, birthday boy.
I'm awake.
Yeah, he's awake. He's awake now. No, but it's good to have you. GameOnDaily.com. Tell everybody a little bit about that site. Let everybody know about it.
Yeah, so everyone, GameOnDaily.com, if you haven't registered on there, what the hell are you doing with your life? So we basically, this is a news aggregation platform. It's not just a website. Really, it has a lot of work poured in. But recently, we just did a massive update just to increase the speed of it, and also brought in a game directory feature. So basically, collates all gaming news in one place. Everyone can use it here to submit content from whatever website you enjoy, or really if you want to push your content out there. So that's what GameOnDaily.com is. It's really smart, intuitive, but you can decide.
It's running really well right now too, running really fast and smooth. Yeah, I checked it out when Asa posted about that the other day. So congrats on the
it's a big deal for us to get that fast, because that was the problem for us. It's like, it has to be smart, it has to be more intuitive. So many images in the site, and there's a lot of going on there, and there's a game directory there, and it's just scratching the surface. The idea is it builds the news. You can pull your Twitter followers in there as well. So if they're registered on the site, you see their content, form your circles. It's like basically giving tools to people to see the content they want, and not necessarily there's loads of stuff people don't like. People don't like certain publications, like, I don't know, Kotaku. For God's sake, man, those guys are crazy.
Polygon, yeah.
So, Polygon, oh my god! I mean, they can feel free to submit the content from these websites. You can happy to do so. You'll see Polygon and Kotaku content on our website. But if you don't like them, Halas.
That's what I like about it,
yeah.
is that, that it's a news aggregate website where you just basically pull in from all these different websites, have all the gaming news there at your fingertips right away. It's your one-stop shop for gaming news, and it's really cool. I like GameOnDaily.com myself. I use it when I'm looking up articles and stuff for the news, of course. I haven't done it so much lately because, of course, I've been out on surgery, and then I had post-op pneumonia, and then I've had other things come through in my life right now that I'm going through and I'm struggling with mentally, and I'm just it's just a lot of stuff I'm dealing with right now. But I needed some normalcy in my life. I know inviting Gaz isn't exactly it isn't exactly the guy to pull in for some normalcy, but he is the guy that I bring in to make me laugh. And that's what I need sometimes. Gaz is one of the funniest guys I know. He's a really good friend. And you know what? You calling up and checking on me and stuff, it really made me feel great, man. Like, honestly, you're a great friend. Thanks for doing that, man. But yeah, I couldn't think of anybody better at this time than my boy Gaz. So he's here. Let's get started, Gaz. You know what we're going to do now. We do it every time you come by here. And that, of course, is 5 questions.
Oh, no, not this. Bloody hell, get it.
Gaz, you know the drill. It's 5 questions. It's a little bit different now. I spruced up the joint a bit, as you can see.
This looks so funny with your head on.
Yeah. Well, it's goofy. I had to just go with it. Right? All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to run through the 5 questions. You know the drill. 4 of them are trivia questions. 1 of them is subjective at the very end. So let us start with this one here.
Fatality.
Okay.
Oh, see, I'm already going to give you a fatality here because you're not going to get this. Anyways, no. I think you're going to do very well. Let's go ahead and go with this.
All
right. In the Metal Gear franchise, protagonist Solid Snake has a twin brother. What is his name? Solid Snake's brother.
Liquid Snake.
Correct, sir.
Shit. I didn't get
Underground and Hot Pursuit are some of the installments of this racing franchise. Underground and Hot Pursuit.
Need for Speed.
Look at that. 2 in a row. Nintendo is an extremely old company that dates back to the 1800s, Gaz. Can you tell me what product they initially sold?
It was card games?
Correct. Look at that, guys. 3 for 3. Bethesda is one of the most Bethesda is one of the most accomplished studios out there. Can you tell me how many Game of the Year awards they have under their belt?
Sorry, Bethesda, did you say?
Bethesda. How many Game of the Year awards under their belt?
They're gonna have, I guess, Fallout, Oblivion, Skyrim. 3?
No, sir. It is not 3. It is 4. They have 4. 4 under their belt. It's Fallout 3, Fallout 4 even, Skyrim, and Oblivion. So, and they're all games under Todd Howard directly. So these games, like Starfield, sir, have all been really critically acclaimed. So Starfield could be, I already said it, it will be a Game of the Year contender for sure. Will it beat out Elden Ring? I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. And that is our first topic. Elden Ring, 12 million in sales in its first first 2 weeks. 12 million copies. This game is selling so well, it's already outpacing games like Skyrim in sales in the first 14 days. Yeah. What do you think about this? Have you been playing it? Like, what do you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I desperately want to see, a lot of people say it's like Souls hype and all that, but I don't think you and I are like some massive, yes, okay, fair enough, Bloodborne, both of us love Bloodborne, but I don't think we would say we're massive Soulsborne like people. Yet this game has taken over a lot of people's minds. People who are new to the genre. I know loads of people who are new to the genre. This game is a work of art, and it shocked me. I know we've got Erica for the win, who's a huge fan. She was right about it from the start, in her hype, in her coverage, in her
she was
declarations about how good this game is going to be. But I love this game. I'm so astounded by the game. I'm lost in the game. I'm in level like 30, but I just want to play the game more, just explore the game world. And this game really is going to be, we talk about whether or not, Starfield will win over Game of the Year, but I think despite the fact that Starfield could be incredible, I don't know, man. If Starfield beats out Elden Ring for Game of the Year, just know that Starfield is an epic game, because there's so much going for Elden Ring that it's quite shocking, really. And it's not, I don't think this is an overstatement here. I think the game's designed, people call this a niche game, this type of genre, and I don't think you can call it a niche at all now, based on the sheer number of people who bought this game. So it also represents a watershed moment for this generation, in my opinion, despite the fact that it's quite early on, because what game developers are going to be looking at when they see this, other studios are like, right, we need to take lessons from this game, because of course they're going to imitate success, but there's some things here that Elden Ring schools other studios in, schools Ubisoft and its formula and constant hand holding. We talked so much about this, and I guess we can talk about it. Is this whole barrier for entry for like new people, blah blah blah. There should be more tools.
It's so much more approachable, and this is the thing I talk about all the time with Elden Ring. When it's brought up in conversations, Elden Ring, a lot of people talk about Souls games being too tough. They want an easy mode and things like that. And I feel like this open world is the easy mode. I feel like the fact that they let you run around, get stronger, come back, fight that boss that's giving you a hard time, at a higher level, because you've had all that time to grind and stuff. Yes, you will have to grind if you want to, make it easier per se, but that's just the price you got to pay to really play this game. But yes, you that, and the fact that you can call in, like you can summon in different creatures or other people, or even yourself with a mimic tier, and bring them in to fight with you, alongside you. That is also kind of an easy mode, in my opinion. There's just so much things that were put into this game to make it so much more approachable for new players and even old players. I just felt like it was really done right. I really loved the way this game. I beat the game myself. It took me.
You beat the game?
Yes, it took me almost 7 days of playtime. So we're talking 168 hours. I think I played, and I finally beat it. And I took my time with it. Tried to explore every region and all that stuff. And I tried to fight every boss I could find. I think I got most of them, because I can't really say that I got all of them, because I don't know. Like, there is so much going on in this game. The map, when you see the map and it expands by a lot, it also has underground worlds, and it has, different areas to progress in. Like, the verticality in this game is something else as well. I don't know, man.
Speaking of that, very quickly, I just want to talk about on that point. Me and you are quite vocal against 343 for what their failings are with Halo. Don't you think it's quite stark how much content this game has day one, without a reliance on a battle pass and anything, compared to, say, something like Halo Infinite that only has one biome?
And we have to mention 3 years it took them to make this.
3 years.
3 years. 3 years.
I promise you, by the time of 5 years, 3 years will go by, and Halo won't even have half as much content. And it's not just a slight on Halo; it's on loads of games.
No, they put so many developers on notice with this game. From Software has really outdone themselves with this game. Say what you will about the franchise, if you're not into it or not, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are, and those that are will tell you that it was done very, very well. and incredibly well. The open world itself is massive and genius. There's so much great and so much going on in this game that, honestly, it's one of the best games I've ever played. I'll go as far as to say that. It's one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, mate, I completely agree with you, and I've barely scratched the surface. Very, very rarely do games suck me into that world. It's not me just falling into the hype. You guys know, both me and Fonz, man, we will say it how it is, irrespective of whatever anyone else thinks. But, the last time I felt anything like that sense of wonder, I think it was Breath of the Wild, and it's just that speaks to the dynamism and beauty of that open world.
Ichiban Kasuga, I'm not sure how you say that, but he says, they were developing Elden Ring at the same time as Sekiro. It took them about 5 years to make it, even 5 years. Let's say that, okay?
Yeah.
It took a lot longer for Halo Infinite to get out the door. And yes, we've heard about all the problems and the starting over and all that stuff, which we're going to get into a lot today when we discuss the initiative. Because talk about starting over. But yeah, I just have to say that this game was done right. It was really well polished out the door. The things that it did have going on wrong with it have been addressed for the most part. And there wasn't much. There really wasn't much to complain about in my almost 7 days of playtime. I literally just poured so much of myself into this game, and it really consumed me to the point where I didn't want to play anything else, Gaz. And I have a hard time even trying to go back to Horizon Forbidden West. I don't want to play it. And I'm not even saying it's a bad game. It's just not that great in comparison.
That's the thing is, Elden Ring exposes not the fallacy of other open world games, but exposes the rudimentary checklist system of so many open world games, open world games, the formula that we're so used to, which many people have been we've been calling out the Ubisoft formula for ages. I know, like, you guys are fans of Assassin's Creed and stuff, and that's fine, but it just grated at me. I've got Horizon Forbidden West. I have no compulsion to play it. And that's not a slight on Horizon as much as it is, well, kind of it is, because, Elden Ring just shows that, like, you respect gamers, you show diverse. Elden Ring's world is sculpted. Everything is sculpted. The enemies are sculpted. The designs are sculpted. The music, the thing. Mate, there's some people are finding out there's, like, if you hit a door multiple times, it leads to a secret area. Mizuyaki, are you crazy, man?
Yeah.
It's like, how much content is there in the game? You find places like bosses in this game by almost trying to break the game. You're like, how, like, when Destiny came out, first time, me and my friends were trying to find hidden areas in games, like, just access it, like, break the game, just because we were desperate to see something more in the game world that was actually quite sterile, in my opinion. But there was this need to do that. Elden Ring promotes that because it hides content around the game world like that. It's insane. Who does that? People are definitely going to take notice. It's going to be so... Yeah,
and you definitely have other developers even coming out and trying to, talk badly about it. The lack of a great UI or lack of, spots on the map that tell you where to go to do what. And you know what? That's what I really liked about this open world, is the fact that I didn't have a whole bunch of little dots on the map telling me, hey, go here, hey, go there. I just did what I wanted to do, and I had a great time doing it. I love that. Yeah,
I love that in the game. Someone's crying about UI. Yeah, some of the menu stuff is clunky. It's not by means a perfect game. I think some of the menus and the inventory system is just like a chore sometimes to use. But in terms of it was Horizon Forbidden West's developer saying, "Oh, look at what about the quest design." And it's like, bro, do you even know what this game is? Like, you literally just puke out icons on a map in your game, and you're talking about a game that has like this ebb and flow that's natural and doesn't spoon feed, is a checklist exercise. It's quite weird. I mean, I'm not saying that developers aren't privy to going out public and critiquing other people's works. You can do that, but best believe we will call you out for being really salty and just off the mark there.
Yeah,
because you one game is performing a lot better than your game. One game was supposed to be less mainstream than your game. You're a lot less niche than your game, and it is snapping you away. You can cry and point at beautiful visuals, and Horizon Forbidden West is beautiful, stunning looking game.
It's stunning. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, but boring. I'll just be very blunt about it. It is boring. The combat. Okay, so the combat, I've always said, I've gushed about it before. The combat in Horizon Zero Dawn was very fun. Horizon Forbidden West is more of the same. Okay, which is great. It's fun, but the story, they doubled down on a story that, in my opinion, just isn't very good. Like the first game, the story to me wasn't very good. This game, the story is just it's way more boring because there's so much dialogue in this game. And I don't want to get off on a tangent, guys, but I'm just being honest. For me, when you go to a dialogue wheel that says that there's 5 choices there, Gaz, 5 choices to pick and to talk to any one NPC, and then you go into that choice, you pick one, and then it has another 5 to go into. And then you're sitting there for a good 5 to 10 minutes talking to one NPC, and then you got to talk to another one right next to him. And you're sitting, before you know it, you've got half an hour of dialogue before you get out on a quest. And the dialogue is just this contrived BS, filler crap, politics and things going on amongst each other and the tribes and stuff that I don't even want to deal with in the game. I don't want to listen to politics in real life, let alone in a video game, but regardless, you know, I know that's going to be there. You know, there's always some emulation of real life within our video games. That's fine. But we don't need a half-hour monologue about everything. Like, it doesn't have to be told like this. And that's just my complaints. A lot of other people I've talked to, I have a good friend who loved the game and says, you know, I had no issue with any of the dialogue. Okay, more power to you, bro. But for me, it's too wordy. It's a little too wordy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh shit! Boba Fett just made it rain. I feel like I need to strip.
Oh, Boba Fett, man, you didn't have to do that, brother. He's Boba, awesome guy, good friend. He says, "Good to have you back, Fonz. You and Gaz are good people. I appreciate you, brother. Seriously, you are great people." Let's go. I'm going to go through some of these super chats. Danny Passion Official with a 5 says, "Hey, hey." Hey to you, Danny. Danny's a great guy too. Space Dovakin, he says, tech and graphics wise, Starfield has a good shot. Yeah, no, I agree. And it even has a great shot as being a great RPG as well, because we are going to get into Starfield and what they had to say in the update. And there's a lot of good things there to take from what Todd has been saying lately, that this game might be something special. In fact, I'll be on record as saying it will be special. It'll be a very good game. It's just hard to take away from Elden Ring because of what Elden Ring has brought, coming from like a niche game or franchise. It's exploded with this game to the point where everybody's playing it. Casuals are playing it, and we didn't think that was going to be coming.
No.
Space Dovakin again says, Starfield is literally the only current gen AAA. I disagree. Okay. So you're saying current gen as in you ain't going to get a last gen version. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah, probably right about that. Christopher Jones, thank you, brother. He says, Fonz and Gaz love Stay Strong with sauce and sauce. He wants to hear the sauce. We're going to give it to you today for sure. We gave you a little bit with the Horizon Forbidden West slander. I'm sorry. I'm just having a really hard time going back to the game. I stopped at level 31 with Aloy, which, by the way, is one of the worst protagonists ever in a video game. I'm sorry. She's dull. She's got the, she has no personality. She's got the personality of a slug. It's just really, really dull. Really dull stuff from her. And, they put out a patch to quiet her down a bit in the game, because in the game she would, as you were running around with her, she would be talking to herself. They put out a patch and cut that bit out. I was running by a tree at one time, and this tree, you were able to push it down in the game. As I ran by that tree several times, she kept saying, I think I could push that tree down over there. I was just like, shut up already. And I pushed it down just to shut her up. They patched that. They actually put a patch in the game to stop her from talking so much. And that's
That new one has less voices in her head than this was. This is Hellblade 3.
It kind of reminded me of Days Gone with the protagonist there who would always talk to himself and mutter some weird stuff. But I enjoyed that game as well. I'm not saying Horizon Forbidden West is a bad game, people. Just boring for me right now, and I have a hard time getting back into it. Like I said, I stopped at level 31 with Aloy. I was having some decent fun with it, but going back to it is kind of rough. And then, like, seeing all the points on the map and you know, seeing what I have to get done in the future, like how much I have to open up, it's daunting. It seems it gives you that perception where Elden Ring didn't, because I didn't know what I had to unlock. It was kind of a surprise every time. Oh, wow. The map just got suddenly bigger. Like, I didn't know. So
that's insane.
There's a difference there. And I just like the way Elden Ring did that. So that's all we're going to say about Elden Ring for now. We can move on. We can talk about something else. We can talk about, let's get into Starfield. So they did their little Into the Starfield little showcase, their little video showcase they do. This is the second one. And this one, they brought out they even brought out a little bit of gameplay, but they did talk about some of the new stuff that we will see within this game. And I don't know if you saw it, guys. Did you see it?
I did, yeah.
All right. So what did you think about that little showcase thing that they had so far? I mean, did you hear things that they were talking about, player choices actually having an impact in this game and its outcome, by the way? Todd talking about bringing back more character statistics to better accommodate our play styles. So
yeah, man, like,
what do you think about some of this stuff?
Mate, so what I saw was a lot of, because I was on holiday and I was just checking up on Twitter and I saw a lot of, fanboys, the warring, saying, well, there's the gameplay, there's no gameplay for Starfield, it's a flop. So I was like, oh my God, what the hell are they talking about? And I thought maybe there's a showing or something that came across week. And then I saw this video. This is an interview, a roundtable discussion of these four lads, Todd Howard and co. And mate, I don't understand. You have to be so just stupid, or generally a fanboy just with an ulterior motive to not actually understand what's going on. They typically don't show their gameplay off that much. They had like one tiny snippet of this robot companion that you have. We'll call him Johnny 5 for fun. But
Vasco is his name, by the way.
Vasco.
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Yes. And right here, this is where they showed that little tiny clip, by the way. So this is the gameplay reveal, which really isn't much gameplay at all, but you get to see kind of some in-game stuff right there anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, ultimately, though, the thing that to take away from this, and you can call me out on it, and it can be, I mean, I'm everyone else. We're all in the same boat here when we're looking at what we're seeing. The sheer confident that I was so excited. I was so excited just listening to these four gents talk about what this game is aiming to do. Just doubled, for the subs, they'll know you did two great back-to-back videos on Starfield. One was a montage, one was like talking about the factions in the game. And there's so much detail here. This is the RPG. See, I'm not massively into like the Skyrim world. I don't like the whole orcs and wizards and mages stuff. I know a lot of people
like that stuff. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I'm in the minority there. Well, not minority, but yeah, just like it's good, but it's not really my jam. Apart from World of Warcraft, where I got involved a little bit. But this setting, the space for me is the one. Like it just gets my mind racing, and it's the way they talk about it. It isn't just an RPG just set in space. They talk about so many different things. Like, so we touched upon the fact that the player choices can have an impact. It's also, they said they are going to do it even in not granular level, but at a smaller level. NPCs will talk to you about what you've done. They'll just talk to you about, hey, by the way, you destroyed that space colony. My wife was in there, you piece of shit. And all things like that. Like just generally this a world that they seem to have crafted, and they talk about it with such passion. I'm like, wow. And then they talk about, wait, by the way, in addition to all of this madness, we've got this overarching theme where at the end of the game, one of the chaps goes, it makes you kind of question what's out there in space. And this is it. This is deep sci-fi space game that I've been waiting for so long, man. Like, and in the heart side, like you said, like as I lost that trivia question for Game of the Year, contenders,
awards,
and whatever.
yeah.
Awards, yeah, and this could be something really, really special. And it's early and it's hot. I get it. Some people I am completely understand. People say, "Hey, we need to see a little bit of gameplay before we get hyped," but I can't help it because I can see there's shit. That's my alarm. So,
well, we know.
10 o'clock show.
For the 10 o'clock show. Yeah. No, but we already knew about, Bethesda and how they've done things in the past when it comes to showing gameplay. They've always waited to the E3 or so before the game would come out. Like it was always a few months, 6 months to 8 months before they would actually show any real gameplay. So, I mean, and a lot of people would argue and say, well, things could change. People change. Why don't they change up in their ways and do things? Why? Why should they have to change what they do? It's been working for them very well, aside from Fallout 76. But we won't talk about that because that has nothing to do with Todd Howard's creations. Okay, Todd Howard, this is one of his babies. This is one of his games, just like Skyrim was, just like Oblivion, just like Fallout 3. What are those? Oh, those were all Game of the Year award winners. So this is what Todd Howard has cultivated here, is winners when it comes to great games. This is why us Bethesda fans get excited about Todd Howard talking about this game. Starfield, just the mere mention of Starfield, because they have a certain pedigree that they've lived up to when it comes to these games. Why shouldn't we be excited? I got excited over a Wolverine teaser trailer that had nothing to do with gameplay. That's 10 years out.
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's the CGI cutscene that people got excited for. I actually am I the only one who likes the fact that they're not showing gameplay so early on? It's like they just talked about it. Wait.
It's kind of nice because you the anticipation, right?
Yeah, and it means they're holding off on it. They're going to show something really special, and I kind of like it. Just tease us. Yeah,
because what happens, Gaz, when they show something that isn't ready for prime time?
And that happens all the time. How annoying is it that we see that over and over again? Like people and it's not like it's that game. What's it called? Abandoned. It's probably abandoned. Gosh, yeah. God. This is like 4, really. Like, I mean, this is Todd Howard, and these are esteemed gentlemen in their field who have got a pedigree. If people bring up Fallout 76, I think that's a bit disingenuous in the conversation. This is a game that was so ambitious that they sat on it for 20 years until the tech wasn't at a point where they could achieve their vision. So there are massive question marks around the gameplay. Like, how's that going to work with the frame rate, how the performance?
Well, that's what I like. They brought up certain key aspects of this game that really piqued my interest when I watched that into the Starfield. One of those things is when they were talking about bringing back some statistics into your character design that a lot of older RPGs used to have. And they didn't go into details on which these might be. But if you really think about stats in current gen RPGs, a lot of them anyway, even in, Skyrim is very kind of watered down. The statistics weren't really in depth. But they can get really in-depth with those stats, and you may have to grind out to increase each stat. They may work, you may have a certain stat that actually works a lot better, like a stat that you see a lot in RPGs like luck. Okay, that may work to your advantage if you do actually work on that in this game. I like little details like that. I like going after and building upon my character to accommodate my play style. And if I want to be a space pirate, which they say you can do in this game, luck might be something to really put, some points into and really, pump up there. Who knows? You may come across more treasure, more ships and that's another thing. The ships and just the whole thing to where, like, if you're a space pirate, you automatically think like you're going to be flying these things into space, and there's got to be some ship flying and stuff within this game. There has to be, like, you controlling that. There has
I didn't
to
even
be.
account for that. I mean, if that's there, that's pretty epic for me. I didn't even account for any space
Well, if you're a
flying stuff.
space pirate, you would think
Yeah.
that you'd be flying along and you see another spaceship or whatever and take it over. Or just, man,
See, my ultimate game is basically what Starfield is, but a massively multiplayer online version of that with big worlds. You could be a space. I would 100% be a space pirate if I was in a game like that. Yeah, that's where the fun is. It's always fun.
And you
to be
touched
the
on the
bad guy.
NPCs. They are really working on the NPCs because they want this to feel like a living, breathing world. They want it to get as real as it gets. So they are actually really pushing the envelope when it comes to graphics and the NPCs, the characters, your character that you make. They really want to get this realistic looking as possible.
So that was the funny thing that the guy said. Look, by the way, in the game world, we have to get the photograph. I can never say this word properly. Photogrammy or gamma. You know what I'm saying? Basically,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I can't say it's so annoying. But basically, they're trying to get that even down to the NPC facial animations and stuff, like the textures and stuff. Like,
yep.
This is a studio, but that's this thing I'm a big question mark on is the technical proficiency of this game and whether or not it will kind of remove some of the legacy behind they have so many subsystems in their games that naturally they become really janky because they go quite ambitious with and in their depth. And part of us can forgive that because how many developers out there?
Photogrammetry. That's what you're trying to get at. Somebody says it's photogrammetry. Boba Fett Gaming, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, both of you. Thank you so much.
And that's usually when they take pictures of like scenery and stuff and implement it with the game. But this time they're doing that with faces and like real people, because they want this to look as realistic as possible. Go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I mean, think about that. That is so. That's the problem with games like that because you have copy and paste NPCs, and I just don't get involved in the chat dialogue XX. But if you've got people like do look real and the graphics are amazing and the choices do make a difference and they will comment on it, this is not a party chat game when I'm going to be hiding offline.
No, definitely not.
Just playing that. I'm taking time off work. And then we can text each other afterwards. Hey, man.
Did you get to a certain part? I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. And they also talked about a persuasion system implemented in the game, and it'll feel very organic. You'll be able to persuade people to, doing what you want them to do in the game. Who knows what you're going to be doing, but it's. I can't wait to see, because when do you think they're going to showcase this? E3, right, or around that time?
I think E3. I think E3 is probably right for their showing like that, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to. Starfield is going to be something special, guys. I said it originally going into this year. I said, look, this is going to be a Game of the Year contender. I still hold by that statement. It's going to be a contender. There's no doubt in my mind. And people think I'm crazy for saying that. You haven't seen any gameplay, though. I don't care. It's Bethesda. And Bethesda's games, aside from Fallout 76, have all been in contention for Game of the Year. Sorry.
Absolutely. It's like saying Naughty Dog's next game is going to be the Game of the Year contender. They have a legacy. They have quality.
And I wouldn't have any problem with that, with people saying, "Oh, Naughty Dog's going to have a Game of the Year contender." Okay, quite possibly.
Spider-Man 2 will be a Game of the Year contender. Even Wolverine will probably be a Game of the Year contender because the studio's pedigree is immense. But this game, we have some details, some specifics. Wait till you see the gameplay. I will be very surprised if the game is looking bad, let alone playing bad. I'll be very surprised. And it can always happen. There could be a massive gulf or divide between what the Todd Howard thinks constitutes a good game and what we do. But I really doubt it. What are we talking about here? This guy is so completely disillusioned about what constitutes a good game. I don't know. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, I can't
what they're
see
delivering. They're talking about details that we didn't even like. Photogrammetry of NPCs and choice. There's so much detail here. I'm like, that's amazing. I see Hoggy.
Hargy, I appreciate you, brother. He with the $2 says, Fonz is back. Hope you're feeling better, bro. Yes, I am feeling much better physically. I'm getting back to normal, and hopefully, everything's going to be good.
Yeah,
We also got Space Novakin again. Thank you very much for the $2. Says they treating Starfield like Oblivion. Special. You're right. 100%. That's another thing too. Never did you see them do diaries or any video vlogs or anything on Fallout 76. Nothing of this sort. Yes, you did have the 16 times the detail on stage thing, but even when Todd Howard said that back in the day on stage,
yeah,
it all felt kind of forced. And you look at his body language, he wasn't really hyped about the game, not like he is now. The passion that exudes from this man when he talks Starfield is like none other. Sorry.
yeah.
It honestly, and when a developer is really exuding that sort of passion when they talk about their own games, that tells you something special.
Yeah, absolutely. People say that they don't get that. They don't get it. Like
No.
we've had devs come on board and we're like, or they talk about the game and like, okay, that doesn't really sound very convincing. Like Abandoned, for instance, but that guy talks about his game is like, bro, is there even anything built there?
They abandoned that game, right? They abandoned that, right? Blue Box.
I don't know if they've, but they've been dangling the carrot.
I haven't heard of anything from that. They put an app on the PlayStation 5 and sucks to suck, but anybody who downloaded that, good luck with that. I don't think they've ever put anything on it. So Danny Passion Official, thank you very much for the $10, says, the only time in my life that I was pulled out from playing any game and just focused on playing one single game was in 2006 when the first Gears of War came out, and now with Elden Ring, 3 weeks straight. Danny, that's right, brother. I agree with you, man. Elden Ring is also something special. That's why I said to knock Elden Ring off the current throne, because in my opinion, it is the current Game of the Year award winner so far. Horizon doesn't stand a chance against it, in my opinion. Nothing else does. Gran Turismo 7 doesn't either, but Starfield is that game that could. It could.
Yeah. Starfield could. It seems slim chances purely based on the strength of Elden Ring.
We say slim, but it could have a very good chance, man. I mean, let's not knock what Bethesda and Todd Howard can do, man. Like, this is going to be something. This could be really, really great.
I think there has to be an element of, like, it's so funny I'm using Elden Ring, the game that's quite niche with its mechanics that are supposed to be quite daunting for the average user. But if you compare the two, a third person, even if it's like an open, like if you kind of dumb it down like to simple form, Elden Ring is like, you could describe it as a open world RPG for grown-ups, like Zelda for grown-ups, because it's like very simple combat. You got enemies, you have a few hits, but there's a lot more to it than that. Whereas Starfield is like a deep first-person RPG, and no, I don't know.
But that's what people. Okay, so that's what could get that Game of the Year snatch. Think about this: a lot of games coming out of Sony are very heavily narrative-driven. This game, I believe, will probably be very heavily narrative-driven. Usually those are looked upon as being the games that get those awards, especially when it comes to the AAA market. It's usually those narrative-driven games. Elden Ring, let's be honest, that's its weakest point, is narrative. It's just kind of, it's got lore, it's got lots of lore, but there's no really heavy push for narrative in that game. There's not really anything there that people are just like sitting around going, I can't wait for this boss because he is the god of this, thing here, this sword. And like nobody talks about the lore, really. Nobody really does. That's true. We just talk about, hey, man, this was fun. This game's fun.
True. That's true. But, people, if you read up the story of Bloodborne, it's actually kind of messed up and crazy. And I'm sure Elden Ring story is the same. Bloodborne is weird. Yeah. But I love it. I love it.
Well, Bloodborne was amazing, too. That was my favorite From Software game until Elden Ring. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've not completed a Soulsborne game although I have to try Sekiro.
I did beat Bloodborne. So I beat Bloodborne and I beat this one, Elden Ring now. Those are the only two I beat. The only other one I've ever played, though, was Sekiro, and Sekiro kicked my butt. And now I'm kind of thinking about going back because of Elden Ring. Like, and just saying, you know what, I think I could do it. You know, I just have to put more effort into it. By the way, Gaz, Wandering Dutch says, happy birthday, Gaz. 4,321 years old today.
Based on the number of days people, I don't know what the hell, but I have to get used to it. I'm used to it.
It's your birthday every day now. It's his birthday, guys. Again, it's great to see a lot of good people in the chat today. It seriously is. Hargeet again with the super chat. Hargeet, as you could tell, I did fix your name. You're not Harriet Chains anymore in the ticker there. He says, Starfield looks promising. Hope it is good. My annual vacation starts when Starfield comes out. Should be fun. I will like it more than Elden Ring. Ooh. Well, you know, different strokes. He's not a big Elden Ring fan or Souls fan in general. So I get it. But Starfield is going to be a great game. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about the initiative. You remember that crew, that crew of developers that got together, Gaz, that formed this quadruple A studio? Do you remember them?
Good.
Well, let me give you a little refresher here. If you look on the screen here, this here was a video made by The Initiative when they first formed and started their studio out there in Santa Monica. And of course, as you watch this video here, one thing that you will see eventually is all these guys and gals that probably don't even work for them anymore. This is what's crazy.
Yeah.
The Initiative, Perfect Dark, The Reboot, Gaz, Daryl Gallagher up top. Apparently, so we've got, let me see, what did this say? The Initiative has already lost half of their main development team, including senior employees. 34 in total in the last 12 months alone have left. Some former employees have been speaking out describing their departure as fast and furious and said that the momentum of the ongoing projects was heavily affected by all these people leaving, coming and going, and that there is a deep hierarchy in this situation where it's very top-down heavy, with the man at the lead himself being the guy who's making all the creative decisions, apparently, Daryl Gallagher. Yeah. And a lot of these people are speaking out and saying that they felt frustrated and didn't feel heard on anything surrounding creativity with the game. And when they were trying to make these advances, trying to advance some of the core features of the game to do something that other games weren't currently doing, to try to make new things within the game, Daryl would shut him down and say, no, it's taking too much time to do that. Let's just do it this way. Let's do it the way we normally would do it. What do you think about all this stuff that we're hearing now from these developers that are really, they're leaving because they're frustrated?
Well, see, when I first break to when Drew Marriott left, I was immediately quite vocal in my disdain for that. I say vocal. I had a gif of like, what the hell? What the hell is this shit? This is not good. The lead designer leaves, and I had some smart ass, I remember, on Twitter saying, "Oh, maybe you don't use logic. Maybe I should. I thought you'd have more logic than that. Where are you now? What's his name? Some guy called Musa or something on Twitter." I was like, where are you now? Where's your logic? Where's your logic now? Contort yourself to defend this point, because this is the thing I was leading to. Directors, like lead designers and devs, the directors don't leave straight away. They're like, oh no, we had personal problems. But then you join Insomniac. Like, right
away, like 2 weeks later.
Completely.
And that was a red flag. When that happened, Gaz, I was in the same boat with you. I said, something's wrong. That's weird. Yeah. You don't just do that. I understood, like, everybody had compassion for him because I think he lost his brother at the time. So we were like, okay, it's about family. He lost a brother. Yeah. Let's just, hey, it is what it is. Let's move on. But 2 weeks later, he signs back with his old team again. That was the red flag for me. I was like, whoa, that's not good.
Flag. And the way people reconciled it was that, well, the initiative is a small startup. They kind of incubate this idea, then the Crystal Dynamics get involved, and boom, they'll go and do the grunt work and build the game. I still think a lead design.
Let me ask you that. So they hired Crystal Dynamics, and at the time we were all just like, they wanted to stay a small and agile group, as they called it. So at the time we were kind of thinking, well, they brought him in because, they need a lot of help with this project because it's a big AAA game. They're going to need the developers because they want to stay small, relatively small. We were thinking, okay, so it kind of makes sense. But now that I look back and then I'm seeing these people complaining and being frustrated, saying that they're not being heard, is it because, do you think, now this is what I've been trying to, rack my brain over. Daryl Gallagher is somebody who does, a lot of people in their chat are saying that he does have a strong resume of games. He does know what he's doing and stuff. I don't disagree that he has a lot of great games that he's been a part of or been ahead of with Crystal Dynamics, mind you. But do you think he brought them in because they are yes men?
Well, see, this is the problem. When you see, from the extracts from the interviews, they talk about the fact that the very top-down, leadership, and there's no chain of comms where there's any appreciable kind of exchange of ideas because it's top-down. So because of his, legacy with Crystal Dynamics, they would bring them in as really it was we have a history of us working together. Say yes men is one way to describe it. It was basically, hey, by the way, this is the project, go for it. Whereas the people who did depart, who were there from the inception of the creation of the studio, then see, all right, well, we're just not really getting involved as much as we thought we would, so we'll just go away. That's kind of what they alluded to. So I think there's definitely an element of that.
Well, if you look at
an element.
But Gaz, if you look at those that have left, a number of those that have left of the 34 have been senior level designers, not just somebody who's out getting coffee for Daryl. These are people that have heavily to do with the creativity of the game, and they're leaving. Absolutely. That is a problem for anybody out there to say, no, there's nothing to see here, everything is fine. I think you're just kidding yourself. You are putting on blinders. There is problems here. And that's not to say that a lot of other development teams have had issues in the past. Somebody brought it up and said God of War was in development hell as well. God of War 2018. Correct. Corey's team and stuff, they did go through development hell. They put a project in front of Shuei Yoshida, and he pushed it back and said, no, that ain't going to work. Change it. And guess what? They changed it, and they got Game of the Year 2018. There's a difference there between what the initiative's doing with Microsoft and what Sony did with a development team that was in development hell. And this brings me to my question. Is Microsoft's hands-off approach to these teams a good thing?
Yeah, no, it's not. Because ultimately, you've got people from the staff have said the fact that they found Microsoft's involvement quite surprising, or lackadaisical approach to things really surprising. I'm trying to find the quote here. And then they say the development has progressed painfully slowly because a solid company culture never formed. And that's one of the negatives of this idea of having a small and agile team. If you have a small and agile team, well, then you better make sure that team stays there. Because you're going to have this kind of culture, let them foster it within it. But if half of them have left, then you're relying on third-party contractors, even if you have a history of working well with them, as great as Crystal Dynamics are, and with their pedigree. It's still a problem because you have to stop saying no, painfully slow, painfully slow. Like, what's going on? What was Phil Spencer playing? The menu. The game, like there are so many questions there about.
And that was another thing they said that what was it? I think I have this written down here. They said that several people that left was complaining that they had that they kept changing. That Daryl and the other guy, Nurburger or whatever his name, that he left too, by the way, and he was one of the top guys that had some input within the game underneath Gallagher. They said that they kept changing their minds about the direction of the game, and that would hinder progress. So there are issues here, and we're not negating the fact that a lot of development teams go through development hells. It happens. But here's the thing. When you look at Microsoft and you look at the turnover rate here, you look at 343's turnover rate, you look at 343. Now, mind you, with Halo Infinite, 30 to 50% of the people that worked on the game were outside contractors. Mm-hmm. They weren't even part of the team. It was all lifted by outside contractors. And then you have Rare's debacle with their game, Everwild. Everwild was shown to people, and everybody was like, "Well, what's the game about? We're confused. We don't know what it's about." And even at the time they showed it, they didn't even know what it was about. That's how crazy it is. And then we hear behind the scenes rumors of, you know what? They started over on the project. They completely overhauled it. And so that's why I look at these things and I go, and then we're hearing rumors about Undead Labs and State of Decay 3 and how they're going through some development hell behind the scenes. I don't know how true that is because we're not hearing too much of that. This is all stuff that I'm hearing through people that are supposedly in the know. So let's just say you look at situations like this with development teams from Microsoft, because I'll say this right off the bat, not every team is going through development hell at Microsoft, because there's a lot of teams out there for Microsoft, Bethesda, you've got Arcane, you've got, what is their team? Playground Games. You've got other teams that are doing fine. We're not hearing any issues with, but for some reason, these other teams that are having issues, Microsoft's hands-off approach doesn't seem like the one to go with. It seems like somebody, Matt Booty, needs help, or he himself needs to go in there and say, hey, some changes need to be made. We need to get these things right to right the ship. I mean, something's got to be done. That's just the way I feel, man. Like,
we talked about, shout out to Hoggy dropping game codes though.
Shout out to Hoggy for dropping the game codes. I appreciate that, Hoggy. I'll put one up on the screen right now for Far Cry 6 Ultimate. It's on your screen. Anybody who grabs that, thank you very much.
Very fast. Shout out.
Let us know who got that, by the way. And also, Hargeet has another one here. He dropped the 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. Grab that, guys. Game Pass Ultimate.
What G? Who's so generous? Awesome person, man. Hargeet's awesome. But yeah, it's just, that's what I've been coming up with the last few days when I'm thinking about all this stuff, as I heard about the initiative, as we've seen problems with 343, as we've heard about rumors and issues with Undead Labs, with Rare. Is Microsoft's approach the right one? The hands-off approach? I think that yes and no. It has to be yes and no, because there's some teams that don't need it and that are running just fine. Bethesda can run themselves, obviously. But when it comes to certain studios, like a brand new studio, they obviously need some guidance. And absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Like, the one size fits all rule for this doesn't work. You've got a multitude of different studios who have different cultures that are formed, and you need to have some kind of some studios best left. Like, I think Acer talked about, very good point about Tim Schafer. That guy will know how to run the ship. He will, that's fine. Let them, leave them to their devices. They can do that. They handled a transition of acquisition really well. The game benefited immediately from the involvement or acquisition by Microsoft, and the game got enhanced as a result. The content wise, fine, leave them to their devices. The Initiative is a studio you absolutely need to keep an eye on, because you're building it from the ground up. Who's watching it? Who have you got to do some quality assurance thing there? Right, that needs to have and the evidence is there. if it's painfully slow progress. And the people who have left have said that they're surprised at how lackadaisical Microsoft is. That is not a situation that you can allow to persist. It's completely not acceptable. You need to. No. It's going to be a challenge, because ultimately you're going to have all these studios. Microsoft has acquired so many. It's not an easy task for anyone, even if it's Microsoft. But ultimately, if you want these games to do well, you need to get your house in order. And the initiative, is supposed to lead that example. Perfect Dark as well. If you shit on the legacy of, sorry, I shouldn't swear, but if you shouldn't crap on the legacy of, I'm talking to you. I'm sure it's fine, but yeah, it's if you crap on the legacy of that game, you're gonna get really bad optics from people. That game needs to really be more than just a good game, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I'm keeping
an eye on it. It needs to be great. It needs to be great. I don't care who you are, what you think about Perfect Dark. I myself am not a big Perfect Dark fan. I've played the original Perfect Dark and the one on the 360 back in the day, and I thought they were just meh. I don't know anybody who honestly was asking for a Perfect Dark reboot, but we got one. And all I can say is I want the best Perfect Dark reboot that we can get. That's what I'm asking for. Since we're on this thing about Perfect Dark and they're having troubles and they're, starting over a lot on this game, one thing I'll throw out there, if you're listening, Initiative, which they aren't, but if you're listening, make it third person. Because the first-person perspective thing, I don't know. I personally would rather have a third-person action-adventure game for Microsoft than another first-person. That's just me, though. Risk It for the Biscuits has agreed. They need Big Booty in there swinging his thing. Oh, man. I don't know what thing you're talking about, but that's kind of scary, bro. Drawn TJ, thank you very much, man. He says, hi, Gaz and Fonz. I'll listen to this tomorrow at work. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that a lot. Risk It again says, Fonz, do you think that Gaz's false teeth require supervision, especially on his birthday? You know what? Gaz doesn't have false teeth. I know.
Don't be jealous of my teeth.
Yes. Anyways, no, you know what? It's just, I really hope they can get this right, because we do need a great game coming from the Initiative, especially their first game out. It has to.
And I'm not saying it's going to be terrible, but
at this point, is this a Crystal Dynamics game or is this the Initiative?
Very good. That's a great question, because there are a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, mate," to reconcile the fact that Drew Murray left there and said, "Oh no, the design and scope had already been done." Well,
no,
okay.
It obviously, you're hearing from former employees saying they've changed direction several times this past year. Drew Murray was the first to leave.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, the warning signs on the wall there. Crystal Dynamics are amazing, and I'm not saying the game is doomed, not at all. But yeah, what's the creative integrity and vision of this game? Is it maintained? Do they know what they're doing at Perfect Dark? What kind of game it is? We need to have answers. I think we're entitled to them. But I think there's a bit of concern there for good reason. What's it called? Cerebral Paul, shout out to him. He says, I don't think it's as dire as Gaz and others are saying. I think the devs is dire, because this isn't us saying it. Let's read out their quote. These are direct quotes. One person said, making games is hard enough, let alone when you feel like you can't even get through to the people making the decisions that affect everyone.
I would agree with him, Gaz. I would agree with him if this hadn't been a bunch of senior level creative directors leaving.
Yeah.
These are people that are in charge of so much within the creativity within the game that they're up there. And if they're saying that their creativity is stifled because of some sort of hierarchy going on there, and it's very top heavy, and you had to listen to Nurburger and Gallagher, and that was it. That's a problem. That's an issue. And even Nurburger left. I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but his name right.
Nurburger, right. Yeah, there's loads of that. So, like, Initiative's website claims that the company promotes a collaborative, creative environment. Former employees describe the development hierarchy as very top down, and so it's like what many senior team members were frustrated by the perceived lack of autonomy for senior members. You've got these two guys.
Yeah.
And your website promotes collaboration. What game is that? What the
Shout
hell?
out.
It Takes Two.
Yeah, It Takes Two.
Maybe they need that little book to help their relationship. And they didn't feel they were heard on key issues such as development priorities, project planning, team staffing. These are integral, basic issues. Are you saying that this article's false?
No.
If that's your argument, bring the receipts.
Who are you going to listen to? Outside of the developers, who are you going to listen to? I mean, I'm going to listen to the developers. And you may say, there's such thing as a disgruntled employee. I don't think there's 34 of them.
And they
34 is a problem.
They kicked. They left because, like, what's the point? Like, they have a cushy job. They could just sit there and just drown on Microsoft money because they themselves say Microsoft's so lenient over lack of progress. They could sit there and make money. Nice gig, boom. But they left us like, nah, we want to be part. These are senior people, really good top level talent. Remember the articles that were coming out? This quadruple A studio. Where do you think this quadruple A studio idea came from? It's because of the fact that these guys were the top of the top, and the top of the top have the autonomy to leave. They were like, all right, this is I mean, the lead Drew leaving was just like massive alarm bells, but then everyone else leaves, and then they say lack of autonomy, they're top down. They're like, this is not it. So maybe they don't want to be associated with a game that they think is maybe has its comeuppance. I don't but Crystal Dynamics can save the day. But you're telling me, Dev, where's the design development philosophy is done? The more I talk, I would think about it. This game they need to show something. The burden of proof is on the initiative to show that the Crystal Dynamics are going to be the ones to rescue it, because it looks like a rescue effort to me at this point.
Yeah. Eternal Umbra, shout out to you, brother. He says, yo, shout out to Fonz and Gaz, my brothers. Welcome back, Fonz, and keep your head up, brother. Hope to game with you soon. So, likewise, brother. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. Asa's got a lot of good comments in the chat, and I agree, of course. He says, to be fair, all of those issues, those issues need top-down management to an extent. You're right, and that's why I beg the question, is Microsoft really doing the right approach when it comes to their hands-off method with their developers? I don't think in this case they are. I think, again, it's a case-by-case basis. I think with the initiative, Booty needs to come in and step in there and handle business. Because if you're having all these senior developers flying out of your quadruple A studio all within a year's time, that's a problem. And you need to take care of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I know Asa would agree with that as well. But let's get on to something, our last topic here, pretty much. And somebody in the chat, handle that webcams chat bot that keeps coming in here. Thank you very much. Just hide them from the channel completely. If you can. I'm sure there's some moderators in there that can take care of that. Let's go ahead and talk about something that came up this week on Sony's State of Play, and that, of course, was Hogwarts Legacy. Gaz, did you check out Hogwarts Legacy? Did you see the State of Play?
Yeah, I did, bro. What the hell? So again, I was on holiday and I saw all the chatter on this, and all of a sudden, I genuinely thought, "Oh shit, this game is PlayStation exclusive." They just bought exclusivity for this game. They didn't. What turned out, just because they showed it on State of Play, and because the game looked so good that some corners of the fanboys were desperate to claim this as an exclusive, which says a lot about the quality of this game. But geez, yeah, I checked this out.
Oh yeah, they were even saying things, Gaz. They were even saying things like, "Oh, look, if this comes out near Starfield, it's going to crush it." And I'm like,
Starfield. I need to make a Source video. My God, what stupid comments, man. But I know you tweeted that you're not really a Harry Potter guy.
So I'm not really a fan of Harry Potter, and to be quite honest, when I watch this gameplay footage, does it look nice? Yeah, it does. It looks like it's a game with a nice shiny coat of paint. But it also, it's to me, it's reminiscent of those games that try to capitalize on like a huge franchise, like Harry Potter, you know, and like 99.9% of those that try to capitalize on a huge franchise and turn it into a game. What is it usually? It usually comes out trash. It usually isn't a very good game. Look to the Avengers for that matter. I mean, history dictates time and time again that these franchises don't always equate to great games. That's just my point when it comes to this stuff. Like, if you're hype, cool, I get it. Like, if you're a Harry Potter fan, I get it. But for me, I look at this game and I just see something like the Avengers or something like some other type of game that's trying to capitalize on a huge franchise. And I don't like the pew pew wand thing. It doesn't interest me much. But
pew wand thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on the screen right now. It's just like he's, you know, pew pew wand. Like I don't care for the gameplay. But if I was a Harry Potter fan, I get it. There would be some nostalgia there. There would be something that really hooks me into the story. That narrative could be something that's really great for me, like just the whole Hogwarts Legacy. But for me, I really don't care. It's not really big to me, but it looks nice. It's a nice looking game. I hope the best for it and for those that want to play it. But will it beat Starfield, in my opinion, or even Elden Ring? No, not for me. But
I mean, the fact that this game looks this good is really impressive. I mean, by the way, your quality of the stream is amazing. I'm watching the gameplay. Well done. But yeah, generally like there's so much, you know, like you said, like, you know, movie tie-ins or book tie-ins, whatever. Movie tie-ins in particular with games, they just tend to be rubbish. The only exception, really, very few of them, like GoldenEye. But this game, look, when you watch the very 14-15 minute long, you know, gameplay trailer, like rundown, it has so much content. I'm a Harry Potter. I read all the books. I watched all Harry Potter. I'm not a massive super fan as such, but you know, like, this game has so much content in it. The world feels so well realized. I'm really excited to venture forward into the world again. And the game is going to be, the only thing that puts me off is how big this game is going to be, because the big games, you know, as content creators, and, you know, with day jobs, it's really hard. It's really hard to devote time to playing all these games. But the game looks like, I look at this game has no business looking as good as it does. It looks amazing. Like, the combat looks amazing. The visuals looked amazing. Realizing the detail, attention to detail. If you're a Harry Potter fan, look at Hogwarts. There's the amazing cooking, the alchemy. There's so much content.
Yeah, it looks like a big game. Yeah, it does. It looks like it has a lot of content.
It's a big game. And it's going to pull massive numbers with casuals as well, because it just looks like a really special game. So, like, this game that was like featured in our montages and such because it looked nice, but now it's becoming something really special. So I really hope they smash it. It looks like they really have gone above and beyond. So I am really excited. I'm really excited. It's going to rekindle my you know, Harry Potter like love that's been dormant.
You're gonna get your Hermione pillow out again. Anyways, that's weird. No, look, I'm just. It's funny. I was reading the chat as I was talking and ranting a bit. People are saying, "Oh, Fonz is back to form, his old grouchy self," and things like that. You know, classic Fonz hating already. You know, look. It's not me hating. It's just me telling you how I feel about what the game looks like. It's got a nice shiny coat of paint, but it's Harry Potter. Like, I don't care for the franchise. If I had cared about it, I did watch the movies, a couple of them anyway, and they were just boring to me. I don't care for the franchise at all. But aside from that, like, it looks great. I can't really talk bad about the way it looks. It looks awesome. But it looks like Harry Potter. So if you like that, it's going to be amazing to you. So, and there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of Harry Potter nostalgia. So this is going to it's going to sell like gangbusters. It's going to sell a lot of copies. So
It definitely will. It's going to sound huge, and I hope they maintain the quality bar. And I like the fact that this is a movie tie-in, but also the fact that the bar seems to be raising. I don't know if the gameplay footage is reminiscent of what the final game will be, but I love, like with Elden Ring, the minimal HUD. As in terms of the user interface.
Yeah, that's right. It did have a very minimal HUD. You're right.
You can't see anything, no health, no nothing, apart from R1 prompts for picking up barrels. You can't really see any.
I put it back on the screen right now. It looks really good.
I love that. I love that in games. There's no clutter in games. I'm a big proponent for that. It pulls you away from that stuff. Even the R1, but then, that's a bit tricky. How do you... There are ways around things. This is, I pray that the game has this kind of minimal UI in there. But yeah, generally, other than that, the game looks so good. So Harry Potter fans, it's possibly our time to shine. Woo! Get some butterbeer. That was it. And
look, anything is possible. It could be a Game of the Year contender, of course. Anything is possible. But I'm just saying, temper your expectations, because 9 times out of 10, these big franchises turned into video games aren't very good. So we just don't know. We'll have to see. It looks fantastic for what it is, though. I can't naysay the way it looks. It looks incredible. But again, just not a big fan of Potter. I will see what it's like. If it's getting good reviews, I might pick it up and play it, and I might have to eat crow on it. But yeah, it's a crow. I look, when it comes to games that I may talk about before they're out and say, I don't like what I'm seeing or whatever, I'm not somebody who won't come back and say, look, I was wrong. I don't mind doing that, especially with video games, because I don't want to see any video game fail. I will always come back and eat a healthy bowl of crow in front of people and just take it, and just say, hey, I was wrong. I don't have a problem with that. And people know me for that too. Because if I say something negative, I will always come back and tell you, hey, I was wrong about it. But absolutely. That one other thing I want to touch on real quick is what the hell is going on with Gran Turismo 7. What is Sony doing with Gran Turismo 7? So they just had an update recently where they shut down the servers for like 24 plus hours. I think people couldn't even play the game. Even when they came back online, they had a hard time getting it started, and a lot of people were still having issues getting into the game. It's online only. It's online only, so you have to endure the server shutdowns, and when this happens, you can't play the game, and people are pissed about it. And then what did they do? They put out an update to the game to make it to where it's grindier than it was beforehand. So you have to grind out longer to earn more cars within the game that you could buy, of course, but now you have to actually play it more to earn those cars. So there's a lot of things that are going against this game right now, and even Sony fans aren't really that happy with what's going on. They want an offline mode. And what do you think? Will they get it?
I think they should, because the GT7 seems to have massive issues. Look at I know user scores on Metacritic are hardly the most they're the best of stats, but I've seen the most hardcore of PlayStation fanboys get pissed off at this. And if you want GT7, if Polyphony Digital, Sony, PlayStation, whatever, want GT7 to stand the test of time and become a success, they need to address this thing, especially like single player, not being able to play that game on, without an internet connection, because it's basically DRM. And they've gone out when the PlayStation 4 era, beating their chest. Any disc-based game, we will never ask for you to connect. And how they're slapped in the face with these games. And we always said it. We all said it for years. Like, they're just literally posturing because they're trying to take advantage of their opponent's weak points at that point in the arena. And look how quickly that changed. Flame Super Chat.
Yeah, Flame A, he said I was right. Grand Theft Turismo. That's what it is right now. It's just taking people's money. And here's my big issue with it. And I put this tweet out on Twitter. A lot of people don't like what I said, but again, I'm somebody who hates microtransactions in games that you have to pay full price for. I think that for games that you pay $60 for, and mind you, you're paying $70 for Gran Turismo 7, you have a full, just a ton of cars that you can buy. And like, you don't, and as people say, you don't have to buy them. You can earn them within game. Yeah, but they make it hard for you to earn them in game. And they made it harder after a patch. Like, to me, and here's what's kind of wrong about that as well. This is another thing. Metacritic scores are up, right? And it got an 87, which is a good score. Great score. But this was all pre-patches, everything that has gone on wrong with the game. That is a problem with the score in itself, because people aren't going to go back and change it. But the fact remains that, hey, you've got a game that has since changed how you earn those cars, because those cars are now longer. It's taking longer to earn them. You're not getting in as many credits as you used to when you had that game and you reviewed it. So that's an issue too. But I just think that the whole situation with it always being online, $70, full of microtransactions, it's just it's a shit show. At this point, all Forza Motorsport needs to do is come out and it destroys this game. That's all it has to do. It just has to come out.
Well, it needs to do a lot of things, really. The Forza series that had elevated the game consistently, so people will look back on it and possibly even harsher than they should do with Forza. So there's that. But you're right, absolutely. The priorities of Polyphony Digital in cutting out the grinding for the tokens immediately, because they rely on the microtransaction model, is not great. If you had Wandering Dutch on and he'd play the game and he explained how grindy it was, and some people are like, oh, it's not that grindy. It's like, well, what do you want us to, you built this model for this game that was just surrounded this. There's also a big warning shot to Turn 10, who actually learned their lesson with Forza Motorsport 7. So I'm quite confident they won't repeat that mistake. But it really is quite, the thing that really annoys PlayStation guys about this, which I don't blame them, is in the rivalry, in the console war thing, they bitterly, even despite PlayStation 4 trouncing Xbox One last gen, the one failure was their failure in the racing arena. Gran Turismo Sport sucked. It had anemic content and it just wasn't good enough. And Drive Club, hashtag Drive Club, is that game just flopped for many reasons. But Forza slapped it with Horizon series and the Motorsport series. So they're banking on a racer to really bring that back. They really wanted Gran Turismo to do well, because Gran Turismo used to be the king of racers. This is the thing, though. Now it's failed to do so, and the underlying game may not be that bad, but it's not the game that they expected or wanted it to be. No. So even the most hardcore fanboys can't back this, and when they can't back this, when the hardcore PlayStation fanboys are like, this is not good enough, this sucks, then it's really bad, because every narrative has collapsed. The microtransactions, the DRM, Sony's live service games model, the racer completely falling flat on its face, and like you said, I get the spirit of what you said behind Gran Turismo, so Forza just releasing, because Forza looks like Turn 10 have gone back to the drawing board and they're looking to do something really special. Like ray tracing, if the game has ray tracing in-game races, the visuals, and then almost every arena game seems to have flopped or had some problems, GT7. So yeah, but every gen has failures. Xbox can have quite a few failures this gen. PlayStation will have their failures. And I think Gran Turismo 7, despite being seen as a decent racer, is perceived by many as a failure. They need to go back and fix. It's like Halo Infinite. In many ways, it's a great game. Like, I called it an incomplete masterpiece. Multiplayer, it's failed to do anything. Season 2's content is disgustingly crap. Yeah. So, it's the same kind of thing. This is the problem with live service games. And then Elden Ring comes out with all this content. None of this
and just smacks all these other development teams and says, look, what are you doing with your games? Here's
Exactly.
a $60 game full of content that you can't even wrap your head around. But, you guys are charging $70 on top of that, putting microtransactions in there, and also making it online only, which is just an insane thing to do for a racing game. Like, what is it about the mechanics of the game that you need to have it online at all times?
Well, they argued that with GT Sport, that was an online-centric game. They don't have no excuse with a single-player like Portion 4, Gran Turismo 7. There's nothing. They shouldn't have that.
It's weird. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you very much. He says, Xbox guys, stop review bombing. We better than that. You know what?
Come on, Risk it. All right, fine. Oh, Risk it for the biscuit said it.
Yeah,
we're
Risk
not
it said
boy.
it. Yeah.
We're
listening to Risk it. Hargeet, my boy Hargeet again, he says, Horizon and now GT7, PlayStation seems to have lost a step. Their metas seem off. GT7 is not an 87. Hopefully, the Show 22 will bring them back to form. Well, but isn't that also on Xbox? Oh, man. But yeah, it's still a Sony game nonetheless.
I mean, I do agree with one thing he says. Gran Turismo 7 is not an 87. I think they went off scot-free with the whole microtransactions being released after the reviews. So, Hoggy, part of the Game on Daily family, that's nice. I'm so worried that blatantly. No, don't change. But he's right about the 87. I think maybe that's people need to call that out. The re-reviews are in order.
Especially when changes have made that really change the aspect of the game, especially how much you can earn within a certain time limit is a big part of a games as a service game. I'm sorry. That's a huge part. And if that changes after the fact for the, the worse for the gamer, the consumer, that needs to be explained. That needs to be, taken into account. Luca, thank you very much. She says, I love you, Fonz. Stay blessed, brother. Thank you very much, Luca. You're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. And of course, we have the man, Colt Eastwood, with a 20 super chat here. Thank you very much, brother. He says, FM7. What's he talking about? FM7. What's
Forza Motorsport 7 runs at
Forza Motorsport. Yeah. 4K 60. Native on an Xbox One X. Think of what the Xbox Series X will do 2 to 4 times the power of the One X. Yeah. Just thinking about what Forza Motorsport is going to look like is going to be insane, because that's always the showpiece when it comes to the Forza series. The Horizon is all about that open world and playing online with friends and stuff like that. This is going to be the real graphical showcase and performance showcase as well, I'm sure. You're going to get 4K 60, and it's going to look unbelievable on the Series X. So, that's for sure. But again,
it's like Xbox's power narrative has fallen flat. I don't care about the tools. Shit, come on, man, fix that up. Fix your bloody
use
DVR.
all those tools. especially in an Xbox game. All right, you have the tools. Use them. Your machine has it. Use them.
Forza's gonna look sick.
Yeah.
Forza's gonna look.
But then again, I told you, like I said earlier, all it needs to do is come out, and it wins, because Gran Turismo 7 is in such a mess right now. Anyways, that's our show, guys. Thank you guys for showing up today. Gaz, thank you for showing up today, waking up and coming to the show. We had that time difference because of the time change, of course, and everything was just kind of crazy. But for about 20 minutes there, I was like, oh no, what's going on? But everything worked itself out. We were a little late. We apologize again. But Gaz, tell everybody out there where they can find you.
Shout out to everyone. Smash that like button. Smash that like button.
Smash it.
God.
It helps me out a lot.
Yeah, thank you. It does help. And Fonz is great. They're one of the best talk shows. You've changed your interface multiple times, and I was surprised by the quality of the stream and the gameplay footage. How high is that?
1440p. I'm trying to up the quality of the stream now because I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It sucks, but hey, I'll get better. I'll get better.
what do you mean it's sick? It's just like, just keep it like this. It's wicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Fonz. I hope everything works out. I know you go through loads of stuff, but we're friends here. We always got your back. Always talk gaming. And yeah, love to be here. I'm kind of sad the show ended. I'm just finally like woke up like, let's go. Like, oh, the show's ending. But shout out to everyone. Check out GameOnDaily.com. Check it out. If you haven't registered there, are you really our friend? Are you really? It's so nice. Just use it. Once you use it, it's like crack. And who has anything bad to say about crack? Oh, before we do go, you might want to read the super chat from Papa Bocco 72.
Papa Bocco or Boko, I'm 72. He says, glad you're back, Fonz. Hit the like button. Show some love, chat. Yes, please hit that like button. It would help me out immensely. And also, please go to GameOnDaily.com. Register there. Have fun with that site. I'm telling you, you want gaming news, you'll get all your gaming news there in one-stop shop. GameOnDaily.com, great place to go to get that news. And yeah, guys, so I'm going through a bit of a rough patch, going through a lot. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I've been very transparent with people. I don't mind being transparent and talking to everybody and letting you know what's going on with me. I'm going through some stuff right now to where basically I am, I don't know where I'm going to be in 60 days from now. This will be the last studio or the last room of the house that I take down. So up until that time, I'll be trying to get out, more content for you guys. And also for myself, because I need it for normalcy and my sanity. I need this. And I don't know where I'm going to be after this, but wherever I'm at, if I can make content, I'll definitely do so. I'm not quitting. I'm not doing any of that. If I have to take a small hiatus or even a large one, I will be back no matter what. Don't think that I'm going to go away. These guys won't allow it. Gaz, Colt, Dealer, my Cognito, my best friends within the community, they're not going to let me do this. They're just leave and stop doing things. They're not.
Hell no.
So
I'm coming down to San Fran. Doesn't matter. Like,
and neither will you guys. You guys in the chat. You guys that come here every week. Honestly, man, I see some of the same names come up every week. I've got Ash Tree Gaming, Risk It for the Biscuit. So many people that come at Danny Passion. There's so many of you. Z Black Rider. There's just so many of you that come here every week and watch and listen to my show, and I appreciate you guys so much. You guys mean everything. Thank you for this. Honestly, I wouldn't want to do this without you guys anyway, because who am I to just talk to myself every week? Talking to amazing people like you is really where it's at. I love it. Asa, thank you for showing up. Colt, thank you for showing up, man. All of you people out there, man. Everybody in the chat, thank you. Appreciate you so much. Honestly, I will be around next week. I will have another guest. I will be here. And until then, people, game on.